fucking lame.
You know what? Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, nigga.
Nah, fuck you, bitch.
Nah, fuck you, nigga.
Fuck you, bitch.
Nah, fuck you, nigga.
Nah, fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, nigga.
Fuck you,
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Weird
Fuck
ass.
you.
Stupid ass.
Ooh, where's my time and energy trying to be good to you? Lost friends,
What's up,
families,
everybody?
more enemies,
It's your boy Trigger
seven
Troy, and
bitches
welcome back to
staring at
Love Journal, my journey into healing, relearning, and defining love. Recently, I had a couple of realizations, and one of them is my inability to express myself or communicate in relationships and where that stems from. It's funny because I'm very vocal, like outside of romantic relationships. I don't mind, expressing myself and having these conversations. But when it comes to that, there's almost like this fear of everything just kind of going to shit, right? Like this, like multiple fears. I won't even say just that, like fears of like being misunderstood, fears of looking crazy, or fears of the relationship ending. It's just like so many anxious thoughts come to my mind when I think of expressing myself or communicating something that I don't think is, I guess, quote unquote friendly material. Like I don't really know how to how else to like describe that, but just like those uncomfortable conversations sometimes. And I think or I know rather, for me it stems from some of the things that I had seen with my parents growing up, and not even just with them, because I've seen other adults. I was the kind of kid who just kind of paid attention to adults a lot, and trust me, they were the only ones who I saw argues or fight or whatever the case is. So growing up seeing that a lot, you internalize, I think, those communicative feelings when something isn't necessarily right in a relationship, because you don't want to, for me, you don't want to get there, right? Like I would rather just shut the fuck up, leave it alone, let it fester, which is stupid. But again, you're crippled by some of that stuff sometimes, or I am rather. I've seen moments where on the outside looking in, this should have been a simple conversation, but instead it has escalated to this whole, fucking war almost, a giant battle that should have just been a quick conference. And it's like, for me, looking back at my last relationship, a lot of things, a lot of times, like I realized, and we're not together anymore, and this isn't like I miss you, and I think we need to be able to do this too when we get out of relationships. Assess yourself. Like I realized we might have stayed together longer had I communicated more things, but I also didn't have the knowledge on how I needed to communicate at the time. So I'm not angry with who I was at that time, and if something happens later in the future, that's definitely not, that's the farthest farthest thing from my mind as far as like next relationship or whatever the case is. So we definitely wouldn't be back together. But I realized that, and I realized in those moments where I owed him communication that I just lacked from my own fear of ending things or things going wrong. So, with that, I want to do an episode on how do you have those conversations? How do you if it gets there, right? Like if it gets to that point where you're screaming and yelling, how do you stick with someone after doing that? Like I feel like, and maybe it's just because I know, or I'm afraid that maybe I'm gonna say the worst fucking thing to you, or you're gonna say something that just really hurts me, and it's like, how can I sit next to you after you said that to me? Like how do you stick around in some of those situations? Before I get into my guest for today, I want to give you guys today's quote. It's an anonymous quote, and it reads, "Love means to have the worst argument with someone and realize you'd rather have that argument with them than not have them in your life." That's it's a very interesting one for me, because I think I might agree with that, but then it just comes down to, I think, the word argument, right? Like, should we let it get there, or is it just something that's inevitable? Because we're human. It's bound to happen. We're two different beings, two different individuals. There's no way, even with your quote unquote soulmate or twin flame or whatever you want to call it, that you will be 100% on the same accord. I don't know. But with that, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for today. My roommate, my big sister, one of my best friends, Miss Jennifer Dueñas. All right. How are you today, love? How was your day?
I'm good. I'm
That's
just
good.
tired.
I feel it. I'm sorry. See, if I had not taken my nap, we could have did it a little bit earlier. That's my fault.
It's all good. It's all
um,
good.
so I wanted to have you be a part of the episode where the idea is basically sticking around after heated arguments.
Okay.
For me specifically, I've never even get a chance to argue because I don't even speak up for myself. So it's like I don't even I don't even allow myself to even get to that point. To what I'm saying, and it's almost like a fear, I guess, because I did see this going up. So I'm like, shit, like I don't know, like I can't imagine. One, I'm afraid of what I would say or do, I guess, and what the other person would say or do, and then two, it's just an ending, So, but
I mean, shit. Why you have to stand up for yourself?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, and definitely, and I will say too, you also are one of the people I think in my life that helped me realize that more.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, like, if you don't stand up for yourself, who's gonna stand up for you? What the fuck?
Right.
Like, you gotta fucking protect yourself.
Yeah. But
And
I mean, it's like so. I mean, well, just real quick, like why I picked you for this one is just because if you don't mind me saying, like I have been around where I'm saying you and Ray have had moments,
Oh,
but one thing too, I will say I commend you guys because I definitely noticed you guys getting better as far as like communication in that sense, and I think sometimes it does take that time to just fucking scream at each other sometime to get it out if you don't feel heard. I don't know, but just but that's why I said why I picked you, and also too because I know you're the more expressive one, like I am, in a sense, and so I feel like you can really go there on this one.
Right.
Yeah. So my first question is: have you ever been the aggressor in an argument? Like.
Yeah.
Like full
yeah,
on,
when I was younger. Because I just wanted someone to pay, like, attention to me. So I would just, like, be saying stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then I end up not getting the reaction I wanted. So then it would be a fight. It would be just fucking dumb. Well, now that I think about it, it's fucking dumb. But then I was just like,
I feel like that's a good point, too. Because I think it is something, I guess, that you...
It's
essentially, like, when you go there, it's like an attention thing almost, I guess, too. Not attention, but like how you were saying, like...
But it also, like, stems from other things, like...
Yeah.
Like, when I was younger, like, my dad used to yell at us and stuff like that. So, like, yelling was, like, something, like... I guess I try not to do. Because it gets... My mouth is...
Yeah.
It's ugly. It's not very nice. But either way, like...
Same. I think that's like I said, like what
But
I was afraid of.
But I also learned how to, well, Ray has also taught me how to, like, think before I speak.
Yeah.
And sometimes I want okay, never mind. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. I'm just going to shut the fuck up and say it to myself. And then maybe tell somebody, like, hey, blah, 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 or whatever. But.
Okay,
yeah.
So then question, with being, like, the aggressor, because, again, I feel like there's two sides of that. Like, one, the one that you brought up of like being the intention that like you're going into it with the intention like
Yeah,
I want
and then
this,
it
you know,
turns
reaction or
around
whatever.
to where you are the aggressor because you're
Yeah.
like defending yourself.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm not gonna let you talk shit to me or like, you know,
Yeah.
say this to me when you're fucking wrong. So I'm gonna fucking tell you wrong.
Right.
You know what
And
I
that's
mean?
it.
And that's it. Like, I don't give a fuck if you don't believe it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that, and then like, so the other part I was like, I mean, yeah, you just said it perfectly. Was standing up for yourself because I feel like it could be one of the two, you know, and it depends on so many factors.
Oh yeah.
But like,
the situation.
yeah, like,
the
because it's like, okay, if you
scenario,
just feel like you're not
whatever.
heard, you know what I'm saying, you can go into it just with a point of yelling to make them listen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because when two people are yelling at each other, no one's listening. Nobody's listening
No,
because you're
it's
both
just-
talking. So
You just,
how the
just
fuck
listen
you
to me,
sit
listen to
there
me. No, you listen
and
to
you're
me.
trying, yeah, like no. So also Ray as well has taught me to
Yeah.
shut the fuck up and fucking actually like
And
really
you know what's
listen.
so hard about that?
And it was really hard for me because I'm fucking stubborn. I didn't want to fucking listen.
And it's like,
But I've been good, and
Yeah.
I've been doing that. And it's true. I mean, it does make a difference.
I think I know for me anyway, what makes the shut the fuck up and listen part hard is how it's presented to me.
Yeah.
Because if I do shut the fuck up and listen, I almost feel like I'm bitching out or something. Like I'm like oh, like
Yeah,
what
but-
you say?
but-
Like, and it's not about that,
Right.
But that's how, and that's something I'm learning too. Because again, like I've never necessarily argued, but you know, I've had intense conversations to the point where I'm just gonna stop. Because if I say something else, I'm gonna say something real fucked up. So I don't yell or nothing. If
Yeah,
I feel it's
well,
my daughter, so I just
that's-
walk away or like I end it, and it's like
Mm.
no resolution or anything. So it's like
That's
out of
because
that
you're
fear of, like-
scared of the response or the
yeah,
action you're gonna get from the other person. But
or
at the end
because
of the
I
day,
know
listen to this.
Yeah.
They don't really give a fuck if they're just telling you how the fuck they feel about you,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna accept it. Like fuck
Yeah.
you, I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
tell you how I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Take it as you want it.
So okay, next question then. With being the aggressor, what's the worst thing you've done or said? If you don't mind, it don't have to be
Done
like
or
parent
said?
relationship. Yeah, like it was straight up like, oh no, this motherfucker didn't. And like, not to say this specifically, but you know, grabbed his car and ran it into a street light and got out and left.
some
It. You know what I'm
shit like
saying?
that.
Like some straight up,
I
just like
I chased somebody in the apartment complex we lived in. I chased somebody with his fucking like cell phone. I'm gonna fucking break this shit. Fucking barefooted, like fucking what the hell? This is crazy, stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then that was a whole nother mess. Crying. It's like what?
Not with
No.
the phone.
Yeah, the phone. It was a whole.
Well, break this
The
motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I feel like, or I guess I'll say, do you think? Because I kind of mentioned that I think sometimes maybe it might be required almost, not required, but like healthy to have those moments, in a sense of like release and.
Well, yeah, but that also comes with communication. Like, if something happens in your relationship or something like that, and you don't like it or something, you need to tell them, you know, hey, I didn't like the way you said it to me, or
Yeah.
hey, I didn't like the way that happened, or whatever the fuck.
This made me feel this
But
way.
yeah, because
I
at the
would
end of
just
the
shut up.
day,
I literally would
listen,
just shut up.
me, well, what I've learned is sometimes I might not like what they have to say to me, but I have to understand it because that's their feelings, and their feelings are valid
Yeah.
just as much as my feelings are valid, and then vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's only fair.
And I think that comes out.
And I
from-
might listen to you and be
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, you know what? Some of this is correct, but fuck that shit. You know, whatever. But I still listen.
Yeah.
But you know, like carry on. Like you have to take some of it into consideration.
Of course, and I think if you genuinely want the situation to grow or you really care,
Yeah,
you
even
love
then,
or
so
respect the
more,
person,
then you would
will
do that.
listen. Like, okay, maybe
Yeah.
I need to- especially if somebody says something to you multiple times too. I think at some point it's just like you
Correct.
purposely not fucking listening, and now I gotta fucking scream at your ass.
Exactly. They're right. Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, because I'm trying to think if like of like the worst argument. Like
You've
technically,
ever had?
I've
I
had
mean,
one
I have
before, and it
several,
wasn't even a
that's
real
just one.
relationship. Or I mean, you know,
I'm like, I have several. This is one.
right? Like I mean, we already know what like who
Punched a
mine
hole in
was
the
with. I'll
one.
say.
I punched a hole in the wall for the first
Oh.
time one time. That was fun. But, you know, I had to fix it. It's all good. It's my
Yeah.
fault. I was just mad. There's
Yeah.
the whole wall. Then
I mean, me and Angel have moments, but we didn't argue. I just would like shut the fuck up, and go to the side, and he'd like leave. Like, but see, that was like the extent of my arguments.
No,
Like,
I can't do that.
yeah,
I am not a shut the fuck up person. I used to be,
yeah.
but that didn't get me nowhere. So what the fuck am I doing? I'm just literally wasting my energy.
Yeah.
No.
I'll say
I'm not gonna sit here and let
you.
you ramble about all this, that, and the whatever the fuck, and then I can't say shit. No.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I did have. I had a lot. I
You have a voice.
had
use
one
it.
argument for real, like argument, like actually yelling, like raising our voices. And yeah, it wasn't an actual relationship.
So was it? And maybe you're still fighting?
Yeah, it was an argument. We'll leave that there because I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah. So and this was
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna
about
leave that there.
2 years ago. And,
That's
yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Like
I mean,
actual
yeah.
yelling.
No, that was an argument.
Yeah. So I guess I can get there when I just genuinely. There's two things, because I'm learning too. Like sometimes I don't want to talk about it right then and there if I have my separation moment, because I'm still trying to understand how I even feel in the first place. Like, am I tripping right now? Is this valid? Like, what is this? So like sometimes in those moments, if I do talk, it's gonna be like word vomit almost. Like I'm just gonna be like, and this and that and this, and like, because I haven't even
Yeah.
set with any of, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you, Troy, read the same book, and you know your words are impeccable. So watch what you say.
yeah, so that's why
'Cause you
sometimes
can't
I
take
do
it
go
back.
away. Like, and I'm like, okay, and so that's what I'm afraid of. And one of those moments where I am like, you know, talking or whatever. I like, and I think I trust myself enough to know I wouldn't purposely do that. But
Yeah.
at some point in my life, and it's just like something with my family. Like we get it from our mom. Our words, we gonna go for the jugular. If you who you
Alright,
talking to, like
alright.
I'm gonna go for the straight up. Just I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but
make
then
you
better
cry with
expect
just what
that
I say.
back.
So it's like I'm at the point in my life where I don't say some of that stuff no more, but I won't lie, I'll think it in my head. Like,
Well,
whoop.
that's
I'm
okay.
like, all right.
I mean,
Ooh,
nobody.
don't say that. I'm like,
Not
"What the fuck,
everyone's
how
gonna say
dare-"
like I never thought that. Like you'd be like,
Yeah.
I hear you, I understand, and then your head would be like, this motherfucker.
Right.
If I could just
Like,
cut this
motherfucker.
motherfucker, let me just cut. Ooh, I just. want-
That real quick, that reminds me. I don't know if you saw the video I put up of
Nah.
Viola Davis. She had a quote. She was just saying like, your marriage doesn't start when you say I do. It starts when you look over at your person and you want to kill them. But
Yeah.
like, okay. It's like I can't. Who is this motherfucker? Like what? Why am I
Like, this
with?
motherfucker?
But then it's like
gets
5
on
minutes
my
later, like
goddamn motherfucking nerves.
and then like
And
5 minutes
just,
later,
can you just shut the fuck up?
I would rather do this with this motherfucker.
But
though.
yeah, it's some weird shit like that. It's real.
That's crazy. So yeah, because she said she was telling it to her friends, and she's like, yeah, you know, if you've already had that moment, like, y'all already. So, but like, and I guess this is less of a question, but just like an observation, because the quote for the episode, and I didn't even make the connection. I said side note, but literally the quote for this episode, and I was gonna see if you agree, but we just said we did basically. Is that love means to have the worst argument with someone and realize you'd rather have that argument with them than not have them in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's some fucked up shit. But
That
yeah,
is so deep. Like,
that's real. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
because I feel like that's also the one, like, when you love somebody at that level, they're also the only person that can really take you there anyway. Right? Like, 'cause
People
that-
can only
that
take you as
closeness.
far as you
As you
allow
allow
them.
them. Yeah.
So
But I just mean, like, as far as, like, the irritation shit, like, you know what I'm
because
saying? Like,
there's
sometimes
sometimes
you're
you'll
like,
be like,
damn.
all right, I'm gonna go to the store, or you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you have to like take a moment for
Yeah.
for
Oh, I
yourself.
know. I'm gonna go get my nails done. I know. Just let it.
Be
I've been
from-
there. I feel it. So I think too. That's not. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm accepting that I won't necessarily say the worst things, but
But that's
The
what I
other
say,
part
you have
of
to try
is-
not to
yeah.
put the emotion behind.
Yeah.
the anger. It
but
has
like
to
the other
be
part
like-
is like the fear of it ending. Like for me, like
I mean, but that comes with.
being like, oh wait, because like I don't want it.
But
I don't.
it's
I still wanna
it's
be-
gonna
please
happen
stay,
if
but,
it
like-
needs to happen.
Yeah. Right. That's yeah.
Just because you want something doesn't mean you're supposed to have it. So maybe it
Yeah.
needs to happen to teach you a lesson, or a lesson of some sort.
And I think at this point too,
and
I
then
should
when
get
you
over
think
that.
back at it,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because of this reason or whatever the fuck. And you're like,
And you
well, I
know-
had to do all that to find it. Yeah, I guess so.
I think too the other part, because like I said, I grew up with my parents, loved them to death, but they had some shit, and we
Yeah.
had front row seats to it,
Yeah, same
and
here.
so it's like a fear of being that, and
Well,
like
I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to happen one
Yeah.
time in your life. You are going to be that.
Yeah.
Because I have had that experience where I have became that. And when you sit there and it happens, you're like, oh, hold on.
Oh, wait.
Hold on. I always
oh,
said
the
I did
Lifetime
it.
movie.
I didn't want to do that. And here I am doing that. And you're
Right.
like, no.
Yeah, and so that's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I.
So I had to learn, like, to tell people no.
Mhm.
Sorry, no. I can't help
Yeah.
you. I can't do
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah.
Don't take it offensively, but no.
And I've been in a situation that was similar. We didn't so at this point, this is when I was like maybe 19 or whatever. I didn't argue at that point. I sent long text messages.
Oh, shit.
So it was like I'll be
Like,
real
write
quiet
a
with you.
letter?
Yeah, 4-page letter in your ass all up and through this motherfucker. Like, so it'll be like, the specific situation that I was in. We would do that, and then we'd stop talking for a period of time, and then start back. And so, just being older now, I wouldn't do that specifically, but just like the fear that I guess stuck around is becoming the Lifetime movie. Like I said, like
Being in a Lifetime movie?
because it's like,
I mean,
like,
fuck,
I
it
ain't tryna
happens
be-
too, though. It's
because that's kind of what that
crazy shit.
was. Like it was a real
You know,
dark
like,
love.
now that I always say, like, I always felt like I was, like legit, like, Truman Show. Like, I always felt like I was that. Like, I was in my own TV
Yeah.
fucking show, and, like, this is all fucking, like,
Hi,
I
welcome
always
to
think like
Jennifer.
that sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck is this real life?
On this week's
Like,
episode
how is this
of
real life
Jennifer.
right now? Are you fucking joking with me?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. You can have
same,
this.
Same. Some shit is just like crazy.
But at the same sense, some of it, it's good stuff. And
Yeah. So I mean,
it's
in
nice.
retrospect,
and it teaches you things. It's fucking shitty sometimes, but at that outcome is good.
I feel that. I'll say before I ask the last question, in retrospect, just thinking about the whole that argument, rather have that specific argument with someone than not have them in your life.
Yeah.
Thinking back on my argument.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
get past that one a little bit. Yeah, so
Oh, you have to work
last
through it. You have to
question.
work through it. That's another
Yeah.
thing. You gotta work through it. Work.
Yeah,
Work.
yeah.
You know,
And
say
it's
the
like growing
best.
pains,
Work,
you know what I'm
work,
saying?
work.
Like I feel like at some point you know,
It's
if you
all
do
work,
argue,
literally.
yeah.
It's like a fucking job.
yeah.
It's like you go to work and then you come home and you're like, I have another job.
Yeah,
And you're
it's
like,
like your
literally. And sometimes that's why people fucking lose their shit because they just want quiet time.
Yeah, I feel. Oh, my mama used to come. Oh, let me tell you, and
Quiet
like
time.
she would come home and being a house full of men,
Oh,
5 boys, and a husband. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
it'd be
I'm saying-
days where my dad would just like text us, especially if she had a bad day at work. It was like that meant when she come home, she don't need to. We don't have to have her do shit. Like, everything need to be done.
Yeah.
Like, figure out what y'all gonna have for dinner yourself. My daddy'd be like, hey, she had a bad day. She on her way home from work. Scatter. Make sure everything clean and just scatter.
Yeah,
out of her
and-
fucking
and
face.
she was good.
Like, yeah. But
Yeah, see, that's nice.
yeah. And so not to say too, and I always have to bring that back up really quick when I talk about my parents. Not to say that they did not have good moments. Like, I
Of
know
course.
they had a beautiful relationship at points. It's just I think they both had things that
To
they need
work
to
on.
work on.
Yeah.
And that's the whole other episode, like the importance of some of
Yeah,
that work.
because
like,
at that point, like, you have to, yeah.
yeah, because like I've seen, like,
working
you know,
on
I've
yourself,
seen
that,
my
but that
parents
also
do shit.
happens in a relationship as well. As you're in the relationship, you're also growing. And yourself is changing and being different,
Yeah,
and sometimes that is the end of the problem because you grow
grow
together
apart.
separately.
Yeah. I'll say too, like, real quick, that just to bring up the other point of like that person also be the only person that can really drive you crazy too. Like, again, it take, like how you said it, it's only as far as you allow them. But
Yeah.
like I think too, that's the reality of that level of love, because I've seen, you know, movies and shows, and even in real life, if, you know what I'm saying, like, all right, shit, you know, with, like, if a bitch talking to Ray and she's sitting there a little too close, it's like, hey, bitch, hello, like,
I'm like,
you
hi.
know what I'm saying, like, yeah,
But
you know,
sometimes
like,
actually,
and I'm saying that you have, yeah, I mean, that's not an insecurity thing, because I've, you know, seen that too, but you can just tell sometimes,
yeah,
but just even outside of that, like, I've seen, that's why I always commend, you know, I have to acknowledge both sides. Like, I've seen both my mom and dad be the aggressor. In situations where they just look fucking nuts. And it was like, Jesus, what is this? But like, I think about, you know, my text message meltdown days, or even, like I said, the argument that I had or whatever. I was nuts, like, real quick. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
yeah,
I think
'cause it makes
when
you
you
that
have
way
those
sometimes,
feelings,
yeah.
it's natural, almost.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of you checking yourself and acknowledging how far you're willing to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right
Okay,
now,
okay.
before I say this word, how far am I about to fucking take it?
Yeah.
Because
like,
once I take it there, that's where it's
this
going.
might be it,
and
I gotta be ready to deal.
for what's coming behind that train.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna come full force.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on who the
It's
fuck
like,
you
who
dealing with and what the fuck you said.
And what the fuck you said, yep.
So,
You gotta be ready for that motherfucking train. It's woo. All right.
Yeah.
So last question. Do you have any advice for anyone who may be going through a rough patch, in the sense that, you know, sometimes you have those arguments and it looks like you're arguing like every other day. And it's like
been there.
they want to, but you know, they go through the rough patch, but they want to stay.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to be in it and want to work with it, you have to communicate with each other and be honest and truthful and understanding.
Watch your
And watch what you say and how you say it. I mean, it all comes in one. That's basically all. But it's just like communication.
Yeah.
Expressing yourself, letting
I think
someone
trying
know
too, 'cause if you feel
your
like it's
boundaries.
hard.
Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you can't have boundaries.
Yeah.
You still have your own boundaries.
Ooh, yeah, I like that, because I think sometimes too
Because I think
misconception-
sometimes people lose that. It's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
You're still your own person. I still have boundaries. I'm not gonna just let you talk to me any kind of way because you are who you are. No.
I think that's the misconception sometimes with love, like relationships. that
Yeah.
it's boundaryless, and You
Right.
can still have
That
boundaries.
doesn't
you
mean
should
like
still
what's
have
mine
them.
is not mine and what's yours is
Yeah,
it is
but-
that way, but there's still boundaries.
Yeah. I feel that. Well, shit, that was very interesting. Thank you for the
Yeah.
mini therapy because,
Right?
yeah, I never really talked about the arguing and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm less afraid of it now. So
Yeah,
but yeah, thank you so much, love.
Of
I
course.
appreciate you.
that was fun.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you would like, you can plug yourself real quick. You want some follows or whatever.
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, anyway, guys. Yeah, this was fun.
Right.
Have a good night, love. I appreciate you.
Good night, everybody.
All right, so this one, I feel like it's kind of cut and dry. It's okay to express yourself. You know, don't be afraid of being misunderstood or the relationship ending, because the thing is, if the person loves you, one, they aren't going anywhere. That's just like the reality. And two, if they really care, they will try to understand you. You know, and even then, sometimes you have to. It might be something you might have to talk about more than once. You know, nobody changes overnight. You just have to be confident enough to have that conversation and communicate how you genuinely feel, because at the end of the day, like, you're not responsible for what anyone understands. You're only responsible for what you say. So if you're speaking from a place of truth and honesty and love, as corny and Sailor Moony as that fucking sounds, if you're speaking with those intentions, then you know that you've expressed yourself in the best way possible, and it's genuinely on that person to understand it and receive it as so. With that, I actually want to leave you guys with a movie again. I know it's been a while. And the movie that I'm picking is kind of it's kind of funny, but I think it goes along with the song, and just like, or not think, I know it goes along with the song, goes along with the quote, and it goes along with the whole conversation. The movie is Baby Boy. If y'all seen this shit, y'all already know Jodie wasn't shit. And I recently saw something that said that by the end of the movie, there was no true resolution, which I guess so. So don't watch it for that. But watch it for, I guess, the intensity in their arguments, you know? Could you have stuck around after some of those? And I mean, honestly, there is one argument, we won't skate past it, the sex scene one that ends up in, you know what I'm saying, them fucking or whatever, which is, when I was younger, a very interesting scene. Now that I'm older, I don't know, I haven't watched Baby Boy in so long. Whatever. Point is, the movie overall, they have a lot of those very heated arguments. And sometimes you say things in those moments to genuinely hurt the other person. And I think this movie just shows that pretty well. Nothing too deep, because, again, it's fucking Baby Boy, but it matches the conversation, right? Thank you guys so much for listening. Definitely check out my poetry books, The Boy Who Lucid Dreamed and The Boy Who Stood in the Rain, on Amazon and Kindle. Both coming to Audible very, very soon. Follow the official Instagram page for the pod, love_journal podcast. And yeah, thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, love. Peace.
Ooh, where's my time and energy trying to be good to you?